Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining in on my podcast slash YouTube, If Has Power. Now, I want you all to really get excited. We have some very valuable information coming to us this evening, something that's going to really help you in your trying to get additional resources for your business, and she's going to explain everything to you. So if you just want, just take a moment just to listen and like I said, some valuable information. Her name is Anita Newson, and on social media, her handle name is Anita N, the Biz Coach. Anita, thank you for coming, joining me on my podcast. And we're excited just to know something about what you're going to talk about. All right. So before we get started, I have some questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
Kind of like tell me just a little bit about you.
About me. Wow, that would take how much time you got?
Well,
Short version.
The short version.
Okay.
I know you're a busy woman. I know that.
Oh Lord. Well, like you said, my name is Anita Newson, and a lot of people know me by Anita in the Biz Coach on social media.
Mhm.
And that is because I help businesses and nonprofits, get established to get funding, especially when it comes to grants. That's kind of like my specialty, my expertise area. I actually help businesses start as well as nonprofits, but I don't advertise that as much. I kind of help them with that if that's something that is their desire to do and get it legally structured so that they can apply for grants and things of that nature. So I am from Mississippi. I live here in the Atlanta, Georgia area.
Okay.
I'm a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. I have 4 adult sons, 1 grandson, and I'm just excited to be here.
Oh, we're glad to have you too.
Yes,
Well, listen, since we're talking about when you said grants, my first question I want to ask you, Anita, is really what is a grant? What is a grant? Is this just money coming? I mean, just what is it? What is it?
Okay, that's a good question. So, what a grant is, it's basically free money that usually comes from 3 different entities, whether it's government, it can come from a foundation, or it can come from a corporation, whether that's big or small. There's a lot of corporations that actually have foundations too. There's Walmart, they give out grants, Kroger's. I mean, what's the other one? Home Depot. It's a lot of them that have foundations. They have programs to where they give grant funding.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit of, places that people can find them. But basically that's what grants are. They're free money, to help people and organizations and businesses, get established, or if they have a particular need that they need to fulfill.
Okay, very good. Now, in that case, for one thing, when you was talking about Walmarts and Home Depot and everything like that, so it basically is that grants, you have to be looking for these grants, right? They just don't advertise them, right? I assume. Do they just advertise that they got free money?
Well, anybody's got something free. They ain't gonna too much advertise too much, especially when it comes to money, right? That's a good question too. You don't see it a lot. I mean, sometimes, let's say, for instance, it may be after the fact, right? That, oh, so and so just received all these thousands of dollars. And then you read the article and you find out, oh, wow, it came from Chase Bank. I didn't know Chase Bank gave away money or had a business, grant program. I'm just using it for an example. So that's what happens a lot of times is people find out, after the fact, right?
After the fact, okay.
But what I tell people is, I mean, still save that information because guess what? It's going to come around again.
Right.
Some of these things are more often than yearly. Sometimes they're in different cycles. So, go to these corporations and these big businesses websites and or Google it and see if
Okay.
they have a foundation of grants. That's how, a lot of times I even find some.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, now that makes me it really falls right in line what I want to ask you next. Okay. So
Mhm.
how would a grant help me with my business or my nonprofit? I mean, how is it going to help you? Now, I know the key word there is free money, but how's it going to help me?
Well, there is a few ways that grants can help people, right? And that includes individuals as well, because there's actually grants out there for individuals too.
Okay.
So, different grants are for different things, right? Some grants will help, organizations or businesses, buy materials to manufacture their product, or help them find, or, buy equipment, help them find, pay for buildings, because
Okay.
there's two types. You can either get a money grant, that's what basically everybody wants, or something that we call in-kind grant as well. And that's kind of like, say for instance, if you needed, you had a nonprofit after school program, or whatever, or
Okay.
a for-profit program like that, and you needed computers for your
Oh,
after
okay.
school program, right? You may be able to find someone that's either willing to donate those, or what have you, and that would count as in kind, products, or in kind, grant or whatever like that, because it equals to money.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now you don't have to buy those computers. Somebody just gave them to you. So that's just an example I like to use for like in kind grants and funding like that. But those are some of the ways that people can, use grants. And it's a
Okay.
lot of different ways, personal development, I'm sorry, professional development,
Mhm.
training, you know. So it just depends on what the criteria of the grant is.
That's very good. Very good. Now, this is a big one here because after you said, you were saying about the businesses and, you basically, like somebody had heard about it. But how does a person go about finding the grants?
Mm. So yeah, sometimes it can feel like a needle in a haystack, okay?
Uh-huh.
You're like, where can I find, especially for businesses, they're like, where can I find money for my business? Well, um, that's one of the things I do all the time. I'm researching, and people that, work with me, we're researching and looking for different types of grants for people with businesses, minority businesses, women-owned businesses, nonprofits, and that serve underserved populations and things of that nature. So we're always looking for, to see where different grants come from. So some of the sources that I can say, one main place for government grants is called grants.gov. And that's
Okay.
the website they would go to. Now there's some registrations that are required to be able to, go on and actually apply for the grants before you get, be able to do that. So there's
Okay.
some things you have to do first to kind of do that, right?
Okay.
Then there's another that's called Foundation Directory.
Hmm.
It is for mainly nonprofits,
Okay.
right? So some of these, like I said, some of them are paid for and some of them are free. So
Okay.
this is one that if you wanted yourself to have access to it, you'll have to pay, their I think it's an annual fee or whatever.
Okay.
But most major libraries, in cities have the directory. So they pay for the directory. You can
Okay.
just go to the library, and get on the, and tell them you're there for the foundation directory, and they'll tell you, and show you how to get on there. The
Okay.
SBA have different grants. They have some grants as well on the Small Business Administration website, right?
Okay. Okay.
I also I pay for a couple of databases. One is called grantswatch.com, and I pay for a subscription to them, and they have all sorts of grants on there. And then what I normally do is, people that, and then I work with other people that, do a lot of research for me. And I will share a lot of this grant information on my social media platforms, right? In I have a Facebook group. I
Hmm.
put things that I find or that people have asked for in that group. I'll try to post those things up in that group, or I'll put it on my Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube channels. I try to share a lot of information that I find.
That's good. That's when, showing other people. That's how we all, that's how we get ahead. You know what? people trying to help another person. So another question I want to know is, if you don't know how to locate the grant yourself, is there any way that you can get help? Because a lot of times people say, well, all right, I know, yeah, you can Google and you can go such and such, but how can I go about getting somebody to help me look for a grant?
Well, that's actually one of the things that we do.
Oh,
If
okay.
people don't have time or don't like to look for them, or I love research myself. I don't know that's one of my geeky side, I guess, on my nerd side. I like to do research. So, if somebody needs help looking for grants, I've done that for people. And that's all they wanted me to do was just research grants. They didn't want anything else at the time,
Okay.
so but I have to know, what their mission is, what it is they're trying to accomplish in order for me to match, what type of grant they would qualify for. So it's still important to know, as much as I can about the organization or the business first, so that I know what I'm looking for. Because, you don't want to waste any time, because people do that a lot.
Yeah.
They read, go over, find something. Oh, wow, let me apply for this. And they start, doing all the work to do it. And then come to find out, because they didn't review the criteria, which is very important. I tell people all the time, you got to read the guidelines.
Yeah.
They did all this stuff and then find out they don't even qualify.
Yes.
So it's very important, to review those guidelines. And if you don't have time or want to do something like that, you get people like me to do it for you.
Well, Anita, then in that case, can you give an example of an individual receiving a grant?
Okay, what do you mean by that? I'm
Well,
sorry.
you were saying that, there's individuals, you said it could be a
Oh,
business or a nonprofit, and
okay.
then it could be individual. So what would that look like? An individual getting a grant?
Okay, well, I have come across grants that help people with renovations for their house. Let's say,
Okay.
they had been through some, natural disaster or what have you, or they need renovations. Maybe they have a disability, right?
Okay.
But there are grants out there for things like that. So that would be considered an individual grant, a grant for an individual.
Okay.
There's another resource I have. They help single moms, right?
Okay.
So, moms that maybe, down in their luck. It might not be really large, huge, might be $500 or something like that. But
Okay.
this money you don't have to pay back, right?
Okay.
So, if somebody needs it and qualifies for it, I say, why not apply for it?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Well, now for is there anything else before I ask you to give us your contact information? Because I'm pretty sure there's going to be people now that they know what grants are about and that there is money out there, they'll be contacting you. But is there anything else you want to say before we, close out?
Well, I do want to share some information about an event I have coming up, but before that, I just, my experience while I've been working with,
Mhm.
businesses and nonprofits,
Mhm.
one of the things that I really found out is, of course, people want the money, they want to apply for the grants, but they're not prepared, right?
Oh, okay.
So I have, I kind of created a 3-step process or phase I like to take them through, because what takes up most of the time, what people don't realize, is the work that goes on before you even write the grant. So we got to do those first 2 phases, of getting all those documents lined up and everything we need, getting the outline of the program, and the goals and the outcomes and what kind of activities you're going to be doing, and the budgets, your operating budget. We need to get all these things in order first before we even start looking for
Okay.
grants.
Okay.
And once we find grants that we can match, with their mission and what they're doing, then we go to phase 3 where we'll start applying. So
Right.
it's kind of a 3-phase process that I like to take people through if they haven't, been through the process before. It's very important. The prepping part, if anybody, likes to cook or do anything, the prepping is where most
Yeah,
of the work
that's
goes.
right. That's right. Yeah.
So it's the same way with this. The prepping takes most of the time, that you're going to put into it, the research, all those things before you get to the end product.
Okay. But Nita, do you
So
help with the preparation? Do you help with the preparation as long as the person knows what they want to do, but they may not know how to outline it? Do you help them with that?
I can, and I have. My main thing with that is if they don't, a lot of times, the CEOs and the business owners, they're so busy working the business or the organization, you know, where they need to be building, and the building part is working with somebody like me to
Right.
help them, find the funding they need. But they're so busy. This happens so often with my clients. They're so
Okay.
busy. I can't even catch up with them to sit down to get the information I need. I'm like, okay, well, can you at least, if we can't have a meeting, can you email it to me? So it just takes, it just drags it out. So, that's why I've been doing more training too, to train and teach and educate businesses and nonprofits on the process so they understand it themselves, whether they want to do it themselves or want somebody else like me to do it.
I got you. Okay. All right. Well,
Yes.
that's a pretty good. And so basically, one of those questions I was going to ask about qualifying, but you basically told me that there's some steps. You got that 3 steps right there, especially
Yes.
getting those first 2 out the way. Okay. And that's the
Yes.
part, we live in a society now, people want everything just like that. No.
All right. No, it don't happen. It does not happen.
Yeah,
It does not
yeah,
happen.
yeah, that's
But
true.
because I tell you, one of my clients I was working with, she just would not listen to me. I was just
Uh-huh.
like, I just wish she would just listen to me. And we worked together for a while. And finally, she started doing some of the stuff I was telling her to do, some of it.
Yeah.
And finally, last year I was able to help her get a $35,000 grant. So I'm like, okay, so let's keep this up. So it's very important if you work with somebody like me, listen to what we say, listen to what the person is telling you, because they're not telling anything, telling you anything that's just out of the way, or
Right,
it
right.
doesn't make sense to you. And that's why I like to educate people on it, because then they understand, oh, light bulb. Oh, that's why you was asking me for all that
Yeah,
stuff.
there's a
You know,
reason. There's
there's
a
a reason,
reason.
to the
Right.
madness, right? It's a
Yeah,
method to the madness. But
yeah.
I definitely wanted to, and I'm, grateful to be on here with you, Cheryl. I wanted to share too about the summit that I have coming up in March. It's going to be
Oh,
March the 25th, and it's called Funding Your Future. And
okay.
I am so excited about this. Let me tell you, I have some speakers and people that are going to be sharing some awesome information. Look, I didn't want to forget someone. I made sure I tried to have some available so I can tell y'all
Okay,
what's
okay.
going to be going on, right? So basically, it's going to be for small businesses that just need to find out other ways of finding funding. It'll be for nonprofits that are having issues or problems or want to establish ways of sustaining themselves. Because even if they get grants or loans or credit or whatever, you still have to know how to maintain. You still, after
Right,
that money is gone, when it start getting low, what are you going to do then?
right.
Right.
That's right.
And then it's also for individuals that want to learn more about finances, finance literacy. I know I'm one of them. I'm still learning.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be people there that's going to be talking about how to use your reverse mortgage to get funding. I didn't even know you
Okay.
could do that. Did you know that? Yeah, you can use
No,
and you can
I
use
just
that
hear,
funding.
I just hear about the reverse mortgage commercials and everything, so
Uh-huh.
that's all
Me
I've heard
too.
about
So
it.
it made me curious. So I met somebody that knows all about it. That's all she does. So
Okay.
she's going to be telling us how to get money to use that for businesses or whatever you want to do. I'm
Okay.
going to have somebody to talk about business taxes. We're going to have somebody talking about government contracting, estate planning, insurance. We're going to have it all. We're going to have all of how to start a nonprofit or a business. And of
That
course,
sounds
I'll share my
interesting.
information.
That
Yes,
sounds
I'll be
interesting.
sharing my grant information too. So it's going to
Okay.
be jam packed.
Okay.
Yes.
Anita, would you please remember to post that on my Less Stress Facebook group as well?
Oh, sure. I sure
Okay,
will.
okay.
I can never remember the days I'm supposed to do it. So I be trying to
Oh,
follow
no,
the
no.
rules.
Listen, you know what? Don't worry about it. Um, that Wednesday thing, just put it on there, whatever you want, whenever you want. Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. I certainly
Yes.
will.
Yeah, because sometimes like people don't, you got too many things to do to think about which day to put it on. Just put it on. and everything, because
Okay.
knowledge is powerful. Knowledge is
Yeah,
powerful. It is.
it is. It is. And
So
we will
Anita,
also,
go ahead, dear. Go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, we also have opportunities for sponsors and vendors. So I'm going to have, I don't want to have a lot of people in different industries. So it'll be 2 per industry. And,
Okay.
I'll share that information as well.
Please do. Please do. So where can they contact you at, Anita?
Well, to contact me, they can email me. And the best email for me is info at Anita in the biz, that's BIZ coach.com. Again, that's info at Anita in the biz coach.com. You
Okay.
can also find me on social media at Anita in the biz coach, and that's on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Okay.
And then for the summit, I have an email, and I don't want to say it wrong because I had to make it long for whatever reason. They can email for more information on the summit at fundingyourfuturesummit@gmail.com. And that's fundingyourfuturesummit@gmail.com.
Okay, Anita, I'm going to make it easier for you too. I'm going to make sure that on my on the YouTube video, I will have it underneath in the description, and
Okay.
it'll be part of the podcast as well. Okay. Anita,
Yes.
well, I just want to thank you so much, because you know what?
You.
The thing is that when we pull together and network together, people start learning more and more. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things that are hidden, um, and people really don't know about it unless we help bring it to the forefront. Now, once we bring it to the forefront, it's up to the person what they want to do. You see?
That's right.
Because
That's
I tell
right.
you, if that person had not followed your lead, even though they didn't want to, that's $35,000?
Yeah. Yeah.
They would have missed it. So, it might not feel good, but hey,
Mhm.
it'll get you where you need to go.
That's right. That's right.
Listen, dear, thank you so much. To all my listeners, my audience out here this evening, I just want to thank you for joining in. And like I said, please pass this around to other people. And if you like it, the video, please like it. If you don't mind, subscribe, because I'm always going to have somebody that's going to come on and give us an education into how to live, whether it's in finances, spirituality, books, anything that's going to help us to navigate through life. Thank you so much for joining us, and you and yours be blessed. Thanks.
Thank you.